What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys another set of battles in the OU tier on Pokemon Showdown. Today we are leading off against the specs of choice using Venusaur, Diggersby, Weavile, Slowbro, Heatran, and Tornadus Therian. And I want to note this just before the battle starts. I kind of was probably pretty vague. This is my opponent on the bottom. He's using this team, and I'm on the top using the top team of Kyurem, Darmanitan, Scizor, Azumarill, Suicune, and Thundrus-T. But going back to this Tornadus-T, this is a Pokemon that in Gen 5 used to be an Uber back when weather was permanent. You could fire off those Life Orb, 100% accuracy, stabbed hurricanes, and it also had a very viable physical set, which made it which pretty much bumped it up to the Uber tier, because you made your opponent play a guessing game of like if it's a special sweeper, if it's a physical sweeper, and using that ability Regenerator, you were always topped off. So you were never hanging out at like 40%. You're always at full HP, and this was a Pokemon that was bulky enough to usually eat at least one attack. So through the use of like U-turn after like a big nuke with like a hurricane or like a superpower or something like that, you could just U-turn away to safety. You're usually always going to go fast because it is a very fast Pokemon, and you just go back to safety and use your Regenerator to get back up. But we're going to start this game off and get right into it. I know I've dilly-dallied for way too long talking about that Tornadus. We're going to see my opponent lead with Heatran here, and Heatran is a very unique lead against my team. So I just want to note that he has a balloon. That is a very interesting item on a lead Heatran. You would expect a lead Heatran to really not show a balloon. You would expect it to have leftovers. You would expect it to be pretty much a wall using stealth rocks and stuff like that. Seeing the balloon is going to definitely influence the way that I play the rest of this game. So since we see the balloon, I assume that it's not a wall. I assume that it's probably full special attack, mostly speed, and it's probably just a Heatran that tries to come out, nuke something, and then go back without eating an earthquake. So I'm going to pause this again. Note that I went for the Nasty Pot that turn. Reason being, he probably expected me to Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt would definitely chunk a not wall Heatran for a ton of damage, potentially picking up the KO after only 2 Thunderbolts. So he decided to go to Diggersby to minimize some of that damage. He might have also wanted to stop a Volt Switch. That play is possible. But I go for the Nasty Pot here, and the reason why I went for the Nasty Pot instead of the Thunderbolt is because it would have actually taken 2 turns to KO with Thunderbolt versus potentially switched into Diggersby was very high, and since it would take 2 turns to KO with Thunderbolt, I pretty much thought that going for the Nasty Pot and then KOing in one hit with the Thunderbolt, and then continuously having that +2 special attack boost for the remainder of the game would just be a very smart option, and it definitely forced the Heatran out, and now I have a great matchup with HP Ice against Diggersby. So we're going to get into it. He's going to go for the quick attack, chunks me to over half. We see the Life Orb. I'm actually really happy to see Orb over like a Sash, because it is going to let me pick up KO with the HP Ice. We take out the Diggersby, and what this lets us do is use Thundurus later in the game, because now we're going to see my opponent bring Weavile out. Weavile is definitely going to force my Thundurus out. This is a modest Thundurus. It's not very fast, but I do have a very clean switch in coming with my Wall Suicune. There's not really that much Weavile can do against Suicune, especially when it carries Knockoff. Knockoff is a move that hits really, really hard the first turn, and then after that, there's no more items to knock off, so it's only going to get lower. It's not like he's packing a Night Slash behind that, so no crit potential. We're going to force Weavile out with the bulkiness of our Suicune and go right in for a Scald onto the Tornadus. So I do feel pretty good against Tornadus in this matchup, especially when he misses a Hurricane. That's pretty good. I didn't really think it would KO me at all, though. I'm just deciding to go for these Scalds because I didn't actually know if it was physical or special at that point. Now that I know it's like a little bit of a mixed sweeper, it's not really that big a deal. We're going to see him U-turn out. I don't really have to do anything with my Suicune right now because nothing has actually forced it out. But Slowbro is a Pokemon that, if it is Mega, will definitely force my Suicune out. You saw I went for a Calm Mind on the Switch, but Slowbro is a Pokemon that, if it Mega Evolves, gains the ability Shell Armor, which means it can't get hit, and it's definitely a better Calm Mind setter than Suicune. I'm going to go into my Thundurus here, knowing that it was probably going to set up. He actually goes for the Thunder Wave, which is actually going to activate my Thundurus' Volt Absorb, restoring 25% HP, and he's going to let himself get Thunderbolt, which pretty much means this is Mega Venusaur, and my opponent's just going to leave right there. So there wasn't really that much to say about this game other than the fact that I played a really good turn 1 with Thundurus, and I actually used almost everything of its kit. I mean, I used Thunderbolt, I used Volt Switch, I used, actually I don't know if I used Volt Switch, I think I did. Anyways, I used the Nasty Pot, I used HP Ice, I even used its ability Volt Absorb, which you don't see very often. So pretty good game 1, and we're going to go into game 2. Game 2 is a much longer game, and we're going to be going off against Turtle King 99, who's using Slow King, Scizor, Gliscor, Skarmory, Raikou, and what is this Pokemon? Scolipede. Scoliopeed is the Pokemon that is the last in my opponent's roster. Remember, he's on the bottom, I'm on the top. I'm using the same exact team, and we're starting things off right now. He's decided to lead with Skarmory, which is pretty predictable here. Skarmory is definitely the best lead his team has. It was either Skarmory or Scoliopeed, so I decided to lead off with our Darmanitan. Remember, this is a Choice Scarf Sheer Force Pokemon. Sorry, Choice Banded Sheer Force. You can see I almost one-shot a Gliscor on the switch in. That is ridiculous damage. Anyone who's played against the Gliscor would know how crazy this damage is. We're going to see him use his Toxcorp, but there's no saving him. I mean, he could try to protect and wait this out, but I would definitely finish him off with Flare Blitz whenever I get the chance. So Gliscor is going to go down. My Darmanitan is still pretty full, and I'm thinking usually Raikos are like mostly HP and defensive stats, and I was expecting him to Calm Mind or like Thunderbolt. I thought I would live. Looks like this one is full special attack investment. He picks up the KO, and I was actually really surprised because it was Volt Switch instead of Thunderbolt, but it is still fine. I mean, I took out his Gliscor. I mean, that is huge. That opens up so many options for my Thundurus especially. So Thundurus is going to come in against Skarmory, going for that Thunderbolt. It's going to clock the Skarmory sturdy. It's not really that big a deal. We're going to see in the next couple turns, we're going to see he goes for a Stealth Rock, which is generally what you would expect from a Pokemon like Skarmory. We see the leftovers here, but we're still pretty much playing the same game we played at the start. I chunk something, and then there's nothing you can switch to, so I get a free KO on it. I go for the Volt Switch, and I get to go into now, I think I'm going to do Scizor. Scizor my, well, it's my Defogger. It's going to get rid of the rocks, and we're going to see my opponent come in with a Pokemon that normally Scizor would beat. And I'm thinking I could probably just one-shot this with Bug Bite, but I'm going to go for the standard Defog. I would love to keep the Sash on my Thundurus. If I keep the Sash on my Thundurus, it's game. And he goes for the Fire Blast. That's fine. I know those Pokemon get it. It wasn't like I was like, oh, he's just going to like Calm Mind or he's just going to Scald. I'll be fine. I decided just to sack the Scizor and get the Defog out of the way because I want to come with a bunch of my Pokemon, like Curium, who have a weakness to Stealth Rocks, and go for the one-shot on the Outrage. So pretty good. I probably didn't have to Outrage, but remember this is banded, so I could have went with like a Fusion Bolt, but I didn't really want him to switch into Raikou. And this is fine, going for the Outrage, because he's not really going to be able to do anything. Even if you were to like start setting up Swords Dances here, it's fine, because I chunk him. And then now, if I were to send up my Thundurus, if I had to, I still have that Sash. So I pretty much got an early lead in this game, and then traded effectively, like, well, cost effectively. Like, I'm slowly losing these trades. You see, I lost my Curium there, but it was I lost my Curium after I took out the Slowking. So that was a really big thing. So Scizor's hanging out. It's super powered. It is super weak right now. I have 3 Pokemon left. I sent my Azumarill out here. Remember that Scizor has an attack and defense drop. I know it's going to switch, and even if it didn't, it has no threat on my Azumarill. It's going to let me get a free Belly Drum off on this switch, which I decided to go for here. It's going to cut me down to half, maximize my attack, and my Citrus Berry is going to put me back in the green. So on that switch, I obviously went for the Belly Drum, get the Aqua Jet off onto the Raikou, getting a one-shot here, and there's pretty much no way my opponent's coming back from this. I mean, he decided to go out with Scizor here. Even if he crit Bullet Punched me, it wouldn't pick up the KO at all. I mean, it's because crits only do 1.5 the damage, probably would have left me at about 10%. I actually retaliate and get a critical hit off my max attack Aqua Jet, so that's pretty cool. And now it's Scoliopeed versus the world. This is the famous Baton Passer, but he doesn't really have anything to pass to, so it's kind of funny that he sends it out last. I'm assuming this guy either has like lefties or a Sash or something. He protects to get his speed boost off. That is the correct play there, but you know, there's nothing you can do. Remember, my Thundurus still has its Sash. My Suicune can wall this guy out into infinity. We don't even see the Sash on the Scoliopeed, and it is going to be a 3-stock thanks to the Belly Drum Azumarill. So pretty good stuff in these 2 games. I had a lot of fun playing them. I really liked utilizing Thundurus' full kit in Game 1, and Game 2, I really think it was a good idea to go for the Defog over, let's say, a Bug Bite. Let's say if for some reason that Slowking was sashed, or I didn't KO with Bug Bite, because every once in a while you see those things have like full HP defense, even though they're a specialty Pokemon. It's really weird. I just felt that it was safe to go for the Defog. That's why I did it, and I feel that it was the correct play, so don't get too mad at me for it. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching these games. I hope you enjoyed them, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.